program is brought to you in association with First National Bank of Botswana.
FNB, how can we help you?
It's a man's world, a saying that has been used to describe the ratio of men to women in the world of work, business and legislature. Until recent history, women were considered as only homemakers who had no place in the corporate space. Slowly, this narrative changed and a world that is inclusive was born. Women today are at the fore of imagining and innovating a way forward that inspires change in everyday life. In fact, women outnumber men in almost every educational level and are about half the workforce in most countries. In spite of this, just 24% of senior management roles are women, where only 1 in 18 women earns a six-figure salary in the United States of America versus 1 in 7 men. A writer for the Center for Creative Leadership points out that progress has been slow or stagnant in the percentages of women reaching senior, top and director level positions in most countries. This article denotes that this can be attributable to these women not having a network of champions to help develop their careers, which includes mentors in mentorship programs. Conversely, as instrumental as these programs may be, Forbes Online states that while 76% of people think that mentorship is important, only 37% of them participate. Nonetheless, the few who have taken up these programs have the potential to reach much higher than they could have imagined on their own. Take, for example, our guests this evening, who are mavericks in their respective spaces of profession, bouldering through every stereotype against women in their male-dominated fields and influencing change after being cohorts of a local mentorship program. These women are Tlamelo Makati, a Mechatronics engineer who's also a licensed drone pilot and assembler. Carolyn Khasefete, a Bachelor of Arts in Social Sciences graduate who went back to school to study naturopathy. On the virtual end, Gidumetse Siru joins us from Francistown, who's a biotechnologist whose main focus is plant biotechnology. And last and certainly not least is Saone Mugwazo, who is in agribusiness. Over the next few weeks, we will be profiling these exceptional women who have demonstrated their relentless need to see their hopes and dreams manifest into tangible reality. Our first guest is Tlamelo Makati. She's a 25-year-old woman from Khabane village who comes from a family of 6, her 3 siblings and her parents. Growing up, she was very shy and liked keeping to herself and was an avid churchgoer encouraged by her grandmother. Her life as a scholar started in Mechatronics Primary School, later progressing to Ikageng Junior School in Mechatronics. Upon passing her Form 3, she enrolled at the St. Joseph's College for her Cambridge O-levels. Surprisingly, growing up Christian did not make her a staunch believer, but instead a spiritual young woman who believes in the power of the universe and ancestral realms supported by God. The lass would later graduate an engineer in mechatronics from the Botswana International University of Science and Technology, also taking up interest in drone piloting, for which she is licensed. A dream she attained through a very imaginative mind, fueled by her love for fantasy and fiction. But this is a field predominantly flooded by men. How did Tlamelo figure this could be a path she could journey on?
Mechatronics embodies so many things that I wanted to try out. The first most important thing that, when I saw it, I chose it because I felt it was difficult. I love challenging myself. So when I saw, we have computer science, mechanical engineering, robotics, all in one course, I told myself, I should do that. But before that, it was inspired by a movie that I watched. As a young girl, you see a movie about how to build a better boyfriend, and he's a robot and he's perfect, and you're like, maybe I can do that. So that also inspired that choosing mechatronics. But after getting into the program and understanding what it is about, then I realized there's so much that I can do with it. Looking at our society and everything is like, actually, I can make a a bin that moves to me because I'm a lazy human being. I want the bin to move to me every time I want to throw trash in it. Small things like that just led to this inspiration and love to say, I can do so much with Mechatronics.
Mentorship programs are nothing new in our country, but do you think that people realize their importance, especially young people?
I think personally for me, I didn't really see that importance of having a mentorship up until I got into UMA. You know, you have big sisters around you, colleagues, and then they hold you accountable for what you wanted. It's not like something that they want you to do, it's you. You tell them, I want this and this. And then when you backtrack, they remind you of, okay, this is what you had planned for this year. Why are you giving up? That accountability really helped me to be where I am right now, you know. And mentorship is not only about somebody always like tracking, because I think that's what we think for it. That person will be just there tracking or what you're doing, wanting to see something tangible, but it's more than that. Even on a personal growth, I met with amazing women, Emily, you know, Manka, who really showed me it's more than just being this mechatronics engineer. Even from within, I need to grow. I need to be confident in who I am. I need to be confident in my skills. Something that I've always liked before. Even though I knew I could do this, there was still this voice telling me I'm not enough. Through UMA, I got into this competition. I think that's where now it really started. The AU Envoy competition, where they wanted young women to write stories about GBV, sexual violence, and just the pandemic in general and how this is affecting women. So I entered the competition through writing poems, and I actually got accepted to the top 25 for that. And funny enough, the First Lady was invited to be the speaker for the launch of it's called the Sauti blog. Yeah. Sauti means speak or spoken, like, you know. Yes, and she got invited as the keynote speaker, and then when she saw that there's a Motswana man, the 25, then she invited me to join in with her. And I think that moment where now, that's where everything just like, okay, I just got into this program, started writing because Lolo suggested that I'm a good writer. I didn't think I was, and I just like, I had nothing to lose, and that led me to meeting the First Lady. And through these meetings, I learned so much. She could also see that I was just an introvert, and she just told me, young girl, keep your head high, and just, when you're invited to such, it's God speaking. He's telling you something that you are meant to be somewhere, you are meant to be seen, your voice is meant to be heard. And that's one thing that I've learned through these connections. You know, women around me believe in me so much that sometimes it scares me. It's like, what do they see in me? I don't see that power girl that everybody sees. I just want to be normal. But, you know, through these interactions with her and other connections I've met by attending such meetings with her, I've realized that, you know, these people also were like me. The reason why they're pushing me is because they once also thought they were just nobodies, but they also had a sister or some inspiration that inspired them to keep moving, and they just want to see the same thing happen to me.
When running a business means
Where did I put that receipt?
we can help you with instant accounting, free software that does your bookkeeping for you. When running a business means
Wait, what do you mean the container hasn't arrived?
we help protect your business from risk with Mohwebi Insurance. And when it means
How do we pay our staff that don't have bank accounts?
we help you make multiple payments directly to people's phones with e-wallet bulk send. At FNB, we're constantly innovating to help business owners at every stage of their journey.
In your line of expertise and experience and where you wish to see yourself in future, what have been some of the hurdles that you have encountered, especially as a woman?
I think the biggest hurdles for me, especially in tech, is how men perceive women in tech. we are told our limitations. If you're a woman, you can only code up to there. You are good only with writing papers or doing certain types of jobs in technology. And one hurdle that I faced with my friends was for our final year project where we are all women. And the professors were like, why are you all women? Are you sure you can do this? Because the project was in robotics, and the mathematics in robotics is perceived to be hard, and we're perceived not to be able to grasp that, or we don't have that creative mind to think of how a robot could actually function. And I think that challenged me to come out of my shell to say, you know what, I can do it.
So what are your future plans in relation to the path that you've chosen for yourself?
For my future plans is really continuing what Uma has taught me. They believe in this growing, and not only growing alone, but also taking those around you with you. One thing, I'm also like about inclusion and gender equality. I consider myself a feminist. So what they teach me is that, the queen bee mentality, where we want to be the first woman to do this, the only one. For me, it's more about why does it have to be the only? Why can't it just normalize that women can make it? And that's one thing I've learned from Uma. It's not only about you. Take others with you, grow with others, build a community, build this home where women can flourish. And that's one thing that really I resonate with more, because I want to see a lot of us succeed in our different fields. And with what I want to do as a researcher, own a lab, I want to see more young people collaborating from different fields, working together to build a future for themselves, to grow Botswana's economy, especially in terms of tech. I really love tech, and I feel like we can go a long way with it instead of just depending on what the rest of the world creates. Why can we be our own creators? Apart from that, building a community, like I said, I'm an aspiring researcher, and one thing I love about research is it gives me that opportunity to explore my crazy ideas. I believe I'm a creative, not only from the scientific world, but the arts. So mixing that together and making me, I want that space where I can just express my creativity, especially in tech, my ideas of how I think the world should be. And one of the projects that I've been working on was on trying to come up with a better solution for cervical cancer, better screening method and better detection that is cheaper, and it's available to people who don't have medical aid. Because I've realized that the tests, when you don't have medical aid, take time. And during this time, the cancerous cells, they're multiplying, and also what can we do to help those who cannot afford to go to private doctors. Apart from being a mechatronics engineer, aspiring researcher, I'm also a licensed drone pilot. I got my license from the African Drone and Data Academy in Malawi, facilitated by UNICEF and Virginia Tech. It was a 3-month course. Though short, I felt like I learned so much. It wasn't my intent to go, actually. I just applied because it was there and I had the time. But once I was there, I learned so much. But drone technology is part of mechatronics, but I never really explored it that much. And after exploring, learning how to fly, learning how to assemble, learning how I can actually build my own drone, that really inspired me to say, okay, we could actually have some problems in Botswana that we could use drones for. There's another project that I'm interested in that involves what we call computer vision, natural language processing for safety devices for women who, when you go to parties, you are intoxicated, and then people tend to take advantages of that. Why can we have safety devices for women? You wear a bracelet, you wear a bracelet, she wears a bracelet. Somehow they are connected, and every time maybe the bracelet can detect those words that women say when they're not okay, help, but it's not audible enough, right? Say no, but it's not audible enough. Another woman will be able to understand from hair bracelet reporting. So these are just some ideas that when I'm sitting down, I'm just thinking, it's like, oh, this is what technology can do. This is what I can actually, if it doesn't work, it's fine. But just the concept of saying the possibility of it. You know, people always say science fiction is just science fiction, but there's some truth behind science fiction. And that is why these ideas, I always try at least to write a paper about them to say there is a possibility. Maybe if we implemented this way, it could work. I volunteer a lot. I've always liked volunteering. I'm part of the Women in Machine Learning and Data Science group, Gaborone, as a co-organizer. I'm also co-organizer for Google developer groups, Women Tech Makers ambassador for Botswana, and I'm also a mentor for Tech Innovation Girls. It's an annual competition where young girls use coding to solve a problem in the community. So I currently have 5 girls that I'm mentoring to solve that problem, which is also something that I learned from my mentors from UMA. You know, they mentor me, and then what I learn, I use to mentor other young girls. And I'm also working with UB. They have a program called University Industry Government Co-Creation Platform, where they are trying to build a bridge between universities, the industry, and government to say, okay, students are learning this. What does the industry want from students? Can students solve problems from industry while they're in school so that when they leave, they know what's going on? And with that one, to me, it was really special because my boss, Dr. Mutsahwa, he's a researcher. So I felt I'm volunteering for him. I will be able to learn so much as an aspiring researcher also, how to run my own research lab, how to do research, how to approach stakeholders with crazy ideas, because I know researchers have crazy ideas, and there's a way to put it when you put it to other people to say, I have this idea and I need funding for this and that. And that's one thing that I felt that I will learn from him and his team while preparing for my academic life. I aspire to be a researcher and one day a professor in AI. I'll be studying my PhD in Ireland. I managed to get a full scholarship for that, which was a big win for me for 2020. Even though 2020 has been a mess, I think that was just the highlight of my 2020. And all this volunteering, all this work that I do is to prepare me for that. PhD is more than just writing papers. They're preparing you to be a leader. They're preparing you to come up with ideas that could solve actual world problems. They're preparing you to work with other people from different industries. And all that I'm doing this year was actually just to prepare myself for that time when I say, okay, I'm ready to be a PhD student. I'm ready to be called Dr. Makati. You know, just preparing myself for that.